Okay, I've got a question. What do the five principles of floral design, a single sunflower, and a traumatic rock climbing accident have in common?
Well, somehow, believe it or not, they are all key plot points in Hallmark's 2024 movie, An Easter Bloom. And we've got a lot to talk about, Josh.
We do, Jennifer, and we will unwrap it all for you on this episode of Do You Watch What I Watch?
Sit down and watch, then have a talk with Jennifer and Josh.
It's a simple question, Jennifer. What's your favorite flower?
Ooh. I'm not a big floral girl, although I did wear a floral shirt for our YouTube viewers
Love that.
just for the occasion. I think my favorite flower, it's a simple flower. It's a daisy, like a white or yellow daisy. No muss, no fuss, no overly potent odor. Just a very simple and sweet and makes me happy to look at daisy. How about you?
Classic. Classic. I think I am a hydrangea guy. My
Mhm.
grandparents had a lot of hydrangeas, and I feel a lot of nostalgia around hydrangeas. But we'd love to know what your favorite flower is because, gosh, we see a lot of flowers in this particular movie. Jennifer, hit us with the plot summary, and I'll take over for the deep dive.
I would love to. So, the plot summary is a young gardener sets out to save her family farm by entering a floral competition for Easter. She meets a local pastor along the way who helps her restore the hope she lost. Let's go.
So this one starts with some sweeping shots of a rather idyllic flower farm. Some CGI birds and bugs add some gentle whimsy as we arrive. It's a special birthday for a younger version of our female lead here, and her name is Amanda, and she gets her own little garden plot and a trowel. So we get from go that this is the family farm, the family business, and a family legacy. Soon enough, we flash forward 15 years. Mom is making snickerdoodles, and the weather, the cold weather, has delayed the spring bloom. Bad news for a flower business, especially when we find out we are waiting for an Easter miracle in the form of an emergency loan to keep the farm afloat. Whoa.
Yeah, we're less than 3 minutes in and we're hoping for an Easter miracle already. Okay, here we go.
Here we go. Here we go. So Amanda works at a cute little cafe in town. It's busy, and she gets pretty much an immediate meet cute with our male lead. His name is Derek. He orders a latte. Presumably, it's like a $6 latte because he winds up leaving her a $14 tip. Yoinks. He's
Mhm.
pretty flirty out of the gate, and there is something suspicious going on with his accent here, trying to potentially be Southern. I have questions.
Whatever do you mean, Joshua? I didn't notice that at all.
Oh,
That's
jeez.
not that just slipped on past me like
Slipped
some
on past
hot summer day.
like a slow molasses. Yes, we learn.
Because the male lead is Benjamin Hollingsworth, who we've seen
Yes.
in other movies and we've loved in other movies.
Yeah.
He does not have this accent. And then the leading lady is Amy Teagarden from some of the Hallmark movies plus Friday Night Lights fame. So I was very
Yes.
excited to see these two leads. Yeah,
Yeah, great people. So we learn that Amanda's dad passed away recently. So we get that trope again. And
of course.
of
Of
course,
course.
of course. And we get that Amanda has kind of sort of pumped the brakes a bit on her faith and isn't going to church regularly. So this is a Dayspring movie. So we're getting sort of this loosey-goosey faith element throughout this entire thing. Apparently, Dad used to provide floral arrangements for the church lobby. We also meet a few townies at the cafe and Amanda's friend Effie, who runs the place. So apparently, I'm guessing there's only one church in town because it seems like everybody in town goes to this church and everybody knows who Amanda is and everybody knows that Amanda's dad used to provide the floral arrangements in the lobby, and it's apparently a big deal that that's not happening anymore.
Well, yeah, it's free flowers. I'm sure it was a big deal, big hit to them. Now, I've been to plenty of small towns. There's not just one church. I don't care how
No,
big the town is or how
no.
small it is. There's at least like five. You got your Baptists, your Methodists, your Catholics, your maybe some Episcopalians and Church of Christ, probably.
Maybe throw in a Jehovah's
E-
Witness or a Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Yes, something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So, yeah, they have The monopoly on town, this guy's church, yeah.
Exactly. Later, Amanda is frustrated that her garden is still frozen, and she flashes back in her mind to her dad reminding her to pray. But she's hesitant. Prayer can't melt ice, she says, and wonders aloud. Suddenly, we get a brief moment of peril, like a beam up out of nowhere, when a woman named Lori just happens to run her car off the road like mere feet from the farm. It's rather bizarre. She's new to town, we learn, and they saddle up for coffee for reasons quite unknown to me. So this whole thing was very bizarre. Like this random car accident, then all of a sudden, instead of calling AAA, why don't you come inside and have a cup of coffee, and then I'll pull you out of the ditch. Like, it was very weird to me. But it turns out Lori is a retired florist. Now, she suggests Amanda join the statewide Easter flower decorating contest. Now, the prize is $20,000, and Lori offers to teach this farmer everything she needs to know about being a florist. So they might lose the farm. There's money problems. This might be the solution. I got to ask Jennifer, did you notice this is all unfolding in West Virginia? Did you get that?
No.
You missed it.
Homeland?
You missed it. So there is this part where they pan the wall, and it's her dad in magazine articles, and one of them reads, and I paused it to double check. One of it reads "Cultivating Joy in West Virginia." And when Lori hands her phone number, it's a 304 area code.
304, reppin' 304.
Come on with the 304. These are our people. These are our people. I love
Near the
that.
podcast, Josh and I both have some tangential roots of sorts in West Virginia.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
People are from there. So
Uh,
bad news.
Last weekend, had I known,
Oh,
I
see?
could have looked up this farm.
You could have. Yeah.
Shucks.
Bad news from the bank, however, the emergency loan that they applied for is a no-go. So Amanda goes all in on the competition, the floral competition here, and we get our first lesson with Lori. So Lori is going to teach her the 5 principles of floral design. Now, the first one is all about harmony. So instead of doing anything remotely related to floral design initially, they go head off to church. And what do you know? Derek shows up. Turns out Lori is actually Derek's mom, and Derek is the new pastor in town, and he is there for choir practice. But it's all too much because there's a lot of baggage for Amanda when she shows up to church because, of course, her dad did the flower design, for the lobby area. So
Mm-hmm.
she leaves the church, and Lori is understanding, and so is Derek. And instead of choir practice, Lori plays a record, and Amanda suddenly gets the concept of harmony. So later, we learn the mortgage company is foreclosing on the farm. So stakes are kind of
Yeah,
creeping up a little bit.
that escalated quickly, I feel like. I
Yeah.
just thought we were like a little behind with this bloom, but no, we really need to lay some hands on these flowers, sprinkle some holy water on them to thaw them. Like
Something.
we need a big old miracle, part the Red Sea kind of miracle up in here.
We do, because Amanda is blaming herself, and she's also blaming God. So it's just, we're ramping up that drama as only we can in a Dayspring. Derek preaches a sermon on Sunday, and afterwards, a friend happens to stop by with some sort of business venture opportunity that seems a little murky right now. We're going to learn more about it as we go. Amanda is there too, and she's got a latte. So the gal who was very hesitant to go to church now has reason to go because the $14 tip guy is the pastor, and he's kind of flirty with her. I see how that goes.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
So there's an hour between their services. Apparently, attendance is great. And so they have a little hour gap between services, just enough time, of course, for the two of them to take a little walk, to chat and flirt, which I can guarantee you no pastor who preaches multiple sermons on a Sunday is doing that in between services.
Man, he needs to be praying with people. He needs to be counseling,
Yeah,
writing up
pastoring.
notes for his next sermon. Yeah, maybe doing some pastoring, not walking and talking with the hottie in town. Come on, guys.
Come on. Yeah. He lets on that he has an extreme sports hobby, and he's worried that that will somehow discredit him as the town's pastor.
Why?
Why?
Because you can't preach about the Lord and
You can't
I mean, I thought his big secret was gonna be like he ran a, underground gambling ring or
something.
something really like salacious, but
Something.
no, he just
No.
likes to rock climb. Is
Just
like
likes to rock climb.
sounds like he just shops at REI a lot. Probably
Yeah.
like that's not. I don't think that's a ticket to hell. I mean, I don't know. So
I don't know.
consult your local, pastor. But
We yeah. Amanda and her mom talk about budding romance the next morning. So Amanda's mom lets on about how she met Amanda's dad at the farmer's market over a bouquet of flowers. Now, mom offers some wisdom about not letting fear get in the way, and a ladybug happens to land on Amanda. Now, ladybug was her dad's nickname for her growing up, which is kind of sweet, but the CGI ladybug sort of lands on her hand and it looks sort of inspiring in the moment. So
did it look inspiring, Joshua? Because
it
the
was supposed
CGI
to be.
bugs and insects was, one time I will let it slide. This is a
Multiple.
pattern,
This was a pattern.
expensive pattern. Look at this face.
That's
Don't
like
like it.
that's like my snowman tableau face is what that is.
Mm-mm.
No.
Put this on the YouTube screen for the thumbnail. No,
No.
wasn't a fan.
No. Randomly, a nice townie offers some cash to fund Amanda's budding flower hobby. Then Lori and Amanda are off to go shopping at a boutique in town as presumably part of their second lesson. We get a try-on montage that goes on for quite a while, so many different outfits. On their way back, Lori spots Constance, this woman named Constance, who is a little bit kind of salty when we see her. She's not really nice, not warm and fuzzy. And we learn that Lori and Constance used to be besties and colleagues with a plan to open their own flower shop back in the day. So they look over the Polaroids from the shopping trip, and Lori unpacks the second principle of floral design. This one's about contrast. Derek just happens to pop in his mom's little backyard flower shop, I guess, whatever. And he stops in to say hello, chitter chatters for a bit, and then offers her a rose. And it's very, very much like The Bachelor. Will you accept this rose? And she does accept. He also asks her to make a funeral arrangement, apparently, and she does, and it's a hit. Tears abound back at the church. Boy, this is just a lot. So, the business prospect for the pastor here is some sort of spiritual leader position at an outdoor retreat concept in the Shenandoah Mountains. Okay. It's a compelling offer, but it would mean Derek has to leave the church right around Easter in a matter of weeks, and he just got there. So he's very
We
conflicted.
just got there. It's why did we have him new to town? I guess because she hadn't seen him before.
She hadn't seen
So
him
he's
before.
brand new. So he had to be new to town, and now we're already trying to swoop him away to another gig.
Yeah.
Did we need that? Did we need this conflict?
I don't
Me
think
think
we
not.
needed. We don't need that for him. No. Feeling inspired, Amanda creates a new concoction at the cafe because, of course, she's had 2 lessons in floral design and suddenly she's a budding creative. So she comes up with what's called the Ladybug Latte. And Derek is there at the cafe immediately, of course, to sample it. He declares it divine, and Effie, being a great boss, gives her the rest of the day off so that she can go home and make snickerdoodles with Derek. Oh, gosh, this thing just
Okay, a couple things. Would you ever order something called the Ladybug Latte?
no, never. And
No.
Effie was like, "Oh, we can't mix vanilla and cardamom." That was the whole thing that she came up with, and Effie was acting like that was an unprecedented move. Friend, they sell that drink at every high-end coffee shop. Trust.
Trust. So that was strike one or comment one. Comment two, I think at this point in the movie, Derek is stalking her. I mean,
Yeah.
it just like he has slipped an air tracker, like an Apple tracker device somewhere on her person. Because I don't care if it's a small town or not, he shows up everywhere.
Just happens to be there. Right time, right place. Well, we get more of Derek's backstory as they bake, and it turns out that he fell while rock climbing back in the day, broke his back, and he was never supposed to walk again. Then this guy named Samuel, the same Samuel who offers him this new fancy job, was Derek's occupational therapist and basically taught him how to walk again. Now, as part of the process, Samuel gave him a Bible, sort of led him into the faith, and that led him to pursue the pastorate. So, as part of this conversation, she peels back some
He's
layers.
trying to pull him away from.
Yeah, exactly. She then pulls back some of her layers to reveal some of her spiritual baggage and her struggles, and she wonders if everything going on is somehow punishment in her life. He offers some Kirkland's slash Dayspring, I guess you could say, wisdom about God and vague generalities. And of course, because this is a baking scene and we're about almost halfway through, he lovingly brushes the tiniest piece of flour from her face. And I outwardly groan because it was just too cliche.
But you love a baking montage.
I do, but this was not a montage. It was a baking scene. It was a baking scene, not a montage. Yeah. Lori's back with another floral design lesson, the third, purpose. And this one requires some homework for our dear Amanda. She has to make an Easter basket full of personal items with meaning to benefit charity back at the church. So she makes a My First Garden basket, which Lori and Derek, of course, love. Now, Derek does a Jesus-y, faithy kind of basket. And Amanda wonders why he didn't do an adventure sports one. Like, why wouldn't you do the thing that you love? Why wouldn't you do a basket about that? He maintains that he truly can't be himself. And I'm like, why? Why is rock climbing such a thing to be ashamed of? Like, it just makes
The dark secret. He's in the closet. He's in the rock climbing closet.
in the rock climbing closet. It's like the way they treat adventure sports is like it's a character flaw. Like, and the way he explains it is he says, if they knew I was reckless, they can't have a reckless, like, what? No.
These people just met you. They are not that attached. First,
No, they don't care.
like, he's gonna rock climb straight to hell, I guess. He's gonna rappel to hell.
Apparently, Rappel to Hell. That should have been the title of this thing. Rappel to Hell. A Dayspring Easter flick. Yeah. Anyway, Amanda tells Derek that she has something to show him. And you might think that this is some like beautiful thing in town. No. Apparently, they just go sit on a bench and look at some CGI stars, which Derek calls God's freckles. Absolutely not, sir. They have a heart to heart and they almost kiss. We're back at church now for Lori's next lesson. This is the fourth, if you're keeping count. Yoinks. And this one's about balance. Now, Amanda creeps in on some kid's Easter egg race that's happening in this church sanctuary. You know, the one where every kid's got an egg on a spoon and they've got to make a lap. And it's literally like walking around your living room. It's the shortest egg race you've ever seen in your life. And basically what's happening here is Lori's trying to draw some really stretchy parallels between that and floral design. Does it work? No. Yeah. Anyway, Derek takes part in round 2, partly because he just wants to beat Amanda, and his prize is that he gets to take her to lunch. So they jaunt into the woods to look at a flower called a snowdrop, which is usually the first sign of spring that blooms in the forest. They also unpack more of Derek's hesitancy to rock climb, and we learn that he had a friend who fell with him and is now using a wheelchair. So maybe pastoring, he suggests, is a way for him to run away from the trauma of it all. Now it's her time to offer some encouragement to him.
Did this emotional beat did that pay off for you or work for you? His story, the continued rock climbing story?
I could have bought it if we got more of the detail a little bit earlier on. I felt like it was really strung out in this way where by the time he was finally unpacking it all, that would have been more believable as his whole sort of backstory as to why he felt like he couldn't be himself. Like if he did have,
Yeah.
if he would have been more upfront with, and my friend is now using a wheelchair because I thought I was somehow involved in it and I was reckless. Like to just sort of cast it as a
Yeah.
hobby was a weird choice. So I would have bought it if we
Very
got more
real
detail early on. Yeah. And even if we had like a flashback from him, maybe, yeah, if we would have seen that, I could have believed it or thought it was important, but no.
Yeah, and I can believe you would have guilt if you're attached to somebody, literally, and you're tethered to some kid and there's an accident and, she's like, "Oh, did he die?" And he's like, "No, but he's in a wheelchair. Poor kid." Like,
Yeah.
ew, just like that delivery was weird. People in wheelchairs aren't poor kids. Like, it just the whole thing was icky to me,
Yeah.
that part.
Yeah. So Amanda's getting some confidence as a floral designer and she makes an arrangement for the church lobby, like her dad used to do back in the day. And so she goes off to deliver it. It's a lovely arrangement. But she happens to overhear Derek chatting with Samuel about the job opportunity in the mountains. Oof, this is kind of the oopsie doodle here. So she's big sad about it and suddenly very distracted from her practice that Lori has her doing ahead of the big competition. She flashes back to her dad and she discovers the fifth principle of floral design: love. Now, Lori wanted it to be a mystery, but Amanda discovers it in this moment of oopsie doodle. So there you go. Lori, meantime, is in the hospital now because she took a fall while bringing in groceries. We needed her to have a BMOP of some sort. Amanda delivers the largest floral arrangement you've ever seen delivered to a hospital, and the two have a heart to heart about forgiveness. Now, Lori takes a dose of her own medicine and she sends Amanda to Constance with a single sunflower, which is a callback to the sign of their friendship that used to show up in all of their floral arrangements back in the day. Constance is touched by the gesture, and we see her smile for the very first time in this movie. Amanda goes out to her garden to pray, and we're off to the competition a few moments later. Now we get a floral decoration montage. It is not going so well for Amanda at halftime. But Amanda gets a pep talk from Lori, and, as this guy tends to do, Derek just pops in and he's there too. So I guess we're okay. I guess we've reconciled the whole thing. Okay, whatever. Anywho,
Yeah.
yeah, it's apparently all she needs because things go much better in the second half of the competition. It's the closest it's ever been, the judges tell us. And the big winner of $20,000 is not Amanda. She learned a few lessons along the way, however, so all is not lost. But will they lose the farm? Stay tuned. Now it's Easter. Amanda's arrangement is displayed in the lobby at the church. It's a tribute to her dad. It's a touching moment. And Derek, in the spirit of resurrection, forgives himself for the rock climbing accident and boldly proclaims his love for the sport from the stage. Amen?
Amen.
What also bothered me, Jennifer, is that when he was pastoring, he wore this very large, very blatant cross. Like we needed to be reminded in his jewelry that he was, in fact, a pastor. I get the sense that whoever wrote this Dayspring film may not actually go to church or be someone who professes faith.
The faith.
It
Or they
felt
might be brand new,
very
like
cliche.
from in Sunday school when I accepted Jesus, I got the cross necklace, I had the WWJD bracelet. When you're really on fire for God because 'cause you're brand new to it.
Wait a second.
That's what
Wait a second.
it
I had
is.
I don't know if you remember this. This is like true youth group from the late 90s. But do you remember they used to have like all the t-shirts and hats that were like brands, but they made them Jesus-y?
Oh, of course,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I had a shirt that was the Subway logo, but instead of Subway, it said God's Way.
No, no. I was much older when I bought a shirt that said, "Modest is hottest." And this is the Christian Confession Corner, ladies and
Yeah.
gentlemen.
It's the portion of the show.
Podcast. Josh and I met at church. We are believers. So, we love the Lord, but Lordy,
We've been through it.
I hated that she called her Ladybug. Like, that you barely know this kid and you're already giving her a nickname. That was what her father called her.
Yeah.
Hated that.
Yeah.
I hated her flower arrangement in this competition. She deserved to lose. It was ugly with a capital Ugly, ugly.
She ain't got no alibi.
Bad. She had no alibi. I was gonna be mad if she won. So I was actually happy. My favorite part of the movie is when she did not win because she did not deserve it.
That's so great. Oh, jeez. Well, this thing does have to land. We gotta land the plane here, and so we land the plane on this one with Easter brunch back at the farm. Derek, shows up and he's there to sort of make nice with her, and he's not taking the job of the mountains, so he's gonna stay and follow the call of the Lord and finally be himself and all of that. Constance shows up too and makes amends with Lori and they hug it out and, you know, has this moment where she decides, I looked around the room and you actually won. Even though I won, you won in my eyes. And so here's $20,000. So Constance gives her the prize money and saves the day. Won't he do it? Won't
Won't
he
he do it?
do it?
Saves the farm, saves the day, saves the love, saves everything.
Saves everything. And Amanda steps outside to her field of CGI tulips, now fully in bloom. And Derek is there too, because they're now going to turn this spot into a wedding venue. Of course, a one-stop wedding venue. Randomly, that's an idea that popped out in the last 30 seconds of this movie. Anywho, these two decide to finally kiss, and we pan up, and finally, we fade to black.
It's time for gold or coal.
Whew, okay, well, it is time for our classic gold or coal segment. If you're new to the podcast, here's what we do. We each bring 3 gifts to the podcast based on our overarching thoughts about this movie. And if there's more gold this time, it's a bouquet of roses. And if there's more coal, it's just baby's breath. Dime a dozen. Meh.
Nah.
Josh, I'm going to you first. What you got?
So I'm giving gold. I liked Amy Teagarden in this role. I thought that she was cute. I thought that she was endearing. I liked the way she played the part. I liked that she had some range and some emotion and really went through some stuff. I thought it was good.
Hmm.
No?
I'm gonna give. It's not my favorite performance of hers.
Okay.
There is a Christmas movie, and I don't remember the name of it, where she needs. What was it? I think she needs like a kidney transplant or something.
Oh, that's heavy.
This person donates the organ to her, and of course, he's a hottie. So that was emotionally, emotional. But anyways, okay. I'm gonna bring some coal, the fake accents. Woof.
Woof.
My gosh, have these people ever been in the South? I don't care how South you are. Those accents were not accenting well for me.
No,
Josh.
no.
Coal.
Cole for me, I just felt like the Derek character was flat and creepy and weird. And it just kind of was not. You want that kind of character to have a warmth to him, and I just didn't get the warmth factor from him, and it just didn't work for me. So Cole.
Which is the writing, because like I said, we've seen him, now I'm talking like that.
Huh?
Seen him in the Santa Summit. Seen him in,
He's great.
oh,
Yeah.
Christmas with the Sings.
Yeah.
He's so great. It had to be a writing issue. I don't know who wrote this, but he was flat as all get out. I agree.
Yeah.
These two, Cole, these two could not have chemistry if they were in a class in the high school lab. Like, there was nothing romantic. They didn't even have friendship connection. This was dry as dust.
Yeah. More Cole for me, honestly. This whole bit where they tried to draw parallels between floral design and falling in love, it just didn't work for me. It was honestly for me kind of a snooze fest. Didn't really didn't really keep my attention all that much.
No.
Eh.
My last gift is gonna be more Cole. They would have these serious, quote unquote, serious moments, heavier moments, and then they would splice in some generic upbeat pop music, and it was always really out of place and like wage. The juxtaposition was she couldn't be ignored. I didn't like it. I was
Yeah,
offended.
the soundtrack was weird. Like at points it was sort of like adult contemporary, and then at other points it was like K-Love, right?
Yeah, it didn't
And
know
not
where it
even
should
good
be.
K-Love. Yeah, it didn't really know where it should be. Yeah.
No,
So
shocked when that's why I stumbled the first time when we were recording. I cannot believe this was a 2024 movie.
yeah.
I thought this movie is way older than that. The fact that this came out a year ago, I can't believe that. It felt dated from go.
Yeah.
And we
You're
saw
right.
another Dayspring movie. Wasn't that, Following Yonder Star?
And we loved
We
it.
loved that at Christmas, and that had heart and weight and Christian themes and all of it. This thing, mm-mm.
Yeah. No. It felt like you're right. It felt 5 to 10 years older than it actually is in terms of the way it played and the way it was written and the way it was constructed. Yeah. Very old Hallmark, I think.
Mhm.
Yeah. So bottom line, we had 5 coal, just 1 piece of cold, and we're gonna call it baby's breath. Final thoughts for you, Jennifer.
This is my least favorite movie we have watched in a very long time.
Wow. Sirs.
I can't remember one I liked less because I wasn't interested. Like you said, it was kind of boring. It was a little lame sauce, and it irritates me when I think particularly when Christian media gets a bad reputation, right? Like as a whole, Christian music, Christian movies, we're sort of behind the trends usually by a few years, and then it doesn't always hit. So when there is a following Yonder Star that it has these Christian themes and it's really good too and it can appeal to the masses, I love that. This is every stereotype, cliche Christian theme that people think of, not in a good way. Like, there's a way to make this movie, there's a way to tell the story without the execution that they took. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm
I
probably
think
being
that's
too mean for a Christian movie, I'm sorry.
I
I
think
love
that's
Jesus.
so well
I'll say
s
it again.
I think that's so well said because I think you're right. That one we saw at Christmas, Following Yonder Star, was one of my favorite of the season, honestly, across the
Mhm,
board of all of the ones that we watched, and that one just had so much heart. This one felt like it didn't have that same kind of heart. I got
mhm,
0 warm and fuzzies at the end of the day with this one and rolled my eyes so many times at the cliche and
mhm.
the whole just fakery of it. It just didn't really feel very authentic at all. So I don't know if it's necessarily worth your time. Hey, but if you've watched it and you love it and you disagree with it, God bless. We want to hear from you and share your comments. What was your favorite part and what did we get wrong? Drop us a comment below on this video or connect with us on our social media channels. You can find links to everything about our podcast online at doyouwatchwhatiwatch.com.
That's right, and I will add, like, we just reviewed, Easter Under Wraps, and it's similar with this one. Hallmark Plus has uploaded full-length movies, certain ones, on their YouTube channel as we're recording, and currently, Easter Under Wraps and An Easter Bloom are both on there. You can watch them for free without a subscription, anything. So, if you wanna watch it or you wanna at least skim through and see the parts we talked about, have at it. We'll put a link in our comments so you can go watch the movie if you haven't seen it before. But hey, special thanks as always to Nick Schwartz for our theme song and to you for listening and watching.
So be sure to bop that like button on YouTube if you're watching us there, or write us a brief 5-star review. That really helps us sort of get out there in the algorithm so more people can find our podcast. And be sure to stay with us on our social media channels. Jennifer and I are going to talk offline about what we've got coming your way in May. I see some new movies out there from Hallmark, a lot of motherhood kind of movies.
Might have to put a hat on.
Yeah,
Have to put a derby hat
a
on, maybe.
derby hat maybe with one of our fan favorites, one of our personal favorites in terms of an actress. So might be heading off to the races, as they say. So stay tuned to our socials. We'll talk about what we're going to be recapping and reviewing next there. You guys know we're going to have so much to talk about as per usual. And as always,
May your days be merry and bright. We'll see you next time. And happy Easter!